Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going through a different live stream setup here, so hopefully this works. Hopefully we have no issues, but I will be very excited to go ahead and get an updated Dynasty Startup Draft going. As we pull this up, as we get started, let me remind everybody, we are on flockfantasy.com. All of our rankings, we have access to all of your favorite Dynasty creators with Fantasy Stock Exchange, Dynasty Land Football, Fantasy Endgame. When you sign up to flockfantasy.com with promo code FLOCK, you can get into these drafts with us. You can get all of those perks. And with promo code FLOCK, you're going to get 30% off any subscription. And yours truly will make a podcast breaking down your Dynasty team. But I think that should be it for the intro. I don't want to waste any more of your time. Drop a like, subscribe if you play Dynasty, and let's start this draft. We're going to be picking at 9 here, ladies and gentlemen. So it will be a difficult spot to be in, to say the least. Pick 9 boxes you out of, in my mind, the clear tier of options. I think that you are looking at the top 6 quarterbacks being some combination of Mahomes, Allen, Hurts, Burrow, Lawrence, and then Justin Herbert. Then afterwards, I think you're looking at Justin Jefferson, not only Justin Jefferson, but Ja'Marr Chase. Pick 9, if you're pulling up my Dynasty rankings, you'll see that we do have a tier drop-off, like especially if you look at all the rankings on the site, whether that's mine, Fantasy Stock Exchange, Fantasy Endgame, you're going to see that a lot of people differ with who they're going with in different areas. But we actually get lucky enough to have Justin Fields going ahead of this player, and we're going to get Ja'Marr Chase at 9. Now, obviously in Superflex, we're wanting to come away with a quarterback that we're excited about, but are you kidding me? It's Ja'Marr Chase. I am ecstatic. I tried to make this a little difficult for us, boxing us out of the top 8. But it is what it is. Sometimes it ends up working out for you. That's why if you're sitting at like the 110, 111 in your Dynasty Rookie Draft, it's not like you have to trade up right now, because sometimes the people in front of you will make a surprising selection where you get the guy that you wanted all along anyway. And I'm very comfortable getting Ja'Marr Chase here. I'm in an elite level asset, of course, in fantasy football, and at the same time, incredibly young. Now, Bijan Robinson going at 12. Honestly, I probably would have gone Bijan if you would have made it back to us to the 204. I understand. Yeah, we're looking for QB. We would really like to see a quarterback on the way back around. But once you have Deshaun Watson go off the board, in my mind, it's going to be a little difficult to guarantee that we are getting that quarterback that we like. Let me pull up my rankings on flockfantasy.com just real quick so we have a better idea of who we're going to be going with at the 204. It's a lot easier just to have these rankings pulled up than try to remember off the top of my head and try to act within a 30-second window. So, yeah, I think we are probably going to make a surprising selection, at least if you're going to compare it to most people, but I'm going to be fine to do so anyway. Kyler Murray goes 202. Come on, give us our guy. Waddle goes 204. So I understand, yes, we are scrolling way down past ADP here. Yes, it is a massive, 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 massive reach, but I want to be currently overdrafting the elite year 2 wide receivers like we were overdrafting Jalen Waddle a year ago. I understand the majority of people are going to say, well, Mason, A.J. Brown is significantly more productive than Garrett Wilson. A.J. Brown has proven it over a larger track record. I 100% agree with that. But at the same time, I would make the argument Garrett Wilson is possibly getting the largest QB upgrade in the entire NFL this offseason. And at the same time, Garrett Wilson is going to be 22 years old this next season. I'm fine going ahead and drafting him here. The man's 22. The man was just a borderline wide receiver 1 as a rookie with horrendous quarterback play. He was an elite level prospect coming out of Ohio State. I understand we're overdrafting. I understand we probably should go ahead and grab a quarterback. I personally would rather have Garrett Wilson over the next best quarterback available, which would be either Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Let's go Wilson here, 204, and we'll figure it out afterwards. Okay. Now, Vincent says, did you hear the Lamar, Patriots, and Buccaneers trade rumor? To be honest with you, I am not buying into any of the Lamar Jackson stuff going on until we actually have official news. Once we have like official news with Lamar Jackson, sure, we'll go ahead and make a video about it, but I'll pull it up. Let's pull up Lamar Jackson Patriots. Let's see what's going on here. Okay. So I see a tweet. Someone says Lamar Jackson is wearing Patriots colors on his new IG story. The man literally has on red boots. Is this what it's come to? Is this what March in the NFL is? I'm told that Tampa gets Mac Jones, Baltimore gets 3 draft picks, and New England gets the MVP. I have no idea who this Simon Charles guy is. Yeah, this Simon Charles guy has 5,000 followers. I'm sure that a decent amount of those came out after he tweeted some garbage as well. So, I have more Twitter followers than 5,000, okay? Who the hell is this guy? I mean, if I come out here and tweet, oh yeah, just let you know, Lamar Jackson's been traded to the Cincinnati Bengals. They're going to be using him at running back from now on. The tandem of Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson's going to be the most dynamic pairing in the... Does it hold any water? Probably not. Probably not. You should not listen to that. Now, Chris Olave, 301, Kenneth Walker, 212. Really like both of those selections, if I'm going to be honest with you. Very similar to Garrett Wilson. I'm going to be fine overdrafting Chris Olave. I just want as many of these year 2 wide receivers about to take a jump as we possibly can get. CMC goes 302. I mean, if you're drafting Christian McCaffrey, obviously, if you're that team at 2, you have 1 million points being scored this upcoming season. I personally probably would prefer going with a little bit of a younger asset such as Travis Etienne. Even if we were sacrificing short-term production for maybe long-term production, I understand that CMC is actually still surprisingly young. Like if you're going to look at the age compared to these two guys, Christian McCaffrey, 26 versus Travis Etienne, 24. Like they're a lot closer than you would naturally assume with Travis Etienne being drafted in 2021, CMC being drafted in 2017. A little bit worried about the injury history. However, with CMC, worried about the fact that he is in that group of 2017 drafted running backs. He's had a massive workload so far. So I am not treating Christian McCaffrey as a regular 26-year-old running back, if that makes sense. Nico says, hey, Mason, love the content. How do you feel about an auction draft? I'll get into an auction draft right after we make our next selection in terms of talking about what my thoughts are overall with it. But let me pull up my next pick. I think we may be going way past ADP again, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, well, we're scrolling down this ADP list. Drake London off the board. We're going to go ahead and, quote-unquote, reach on another guy. I understand this is the draft of reaches, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to get the guy I believe to be the best value on the board. We are going to go Devonta Smith. If you're looking at our ranking of Smith, I currently have him at 26. In comparison, we have Tyreek Hill, 32, DK Metcalf, 31. So yeah, the other wide receivers are in play here, definitely, but especially when we go youth-centric with guys like Jamar Chase, Garrett Wilson, I'm going to go ahead and lean with the youth in Devonta Smith rather than grabbing Tyreek Hill at the end of the third here. And then going over to auction drafts, I really like auction leagues in redraft formats. I think it strongly incentivizes or strongly rewards the guys who know what they are doing. If you go into a snake draft, even if you're an idiot like myself, you can still go out there and you can still randomly win a couple leagues. That's entirely possible. If you go into an auction league and you have no idea what's going on, then you have no shot. Like you are just toast. And I like rewarding the best players. I really like that in redraft, however, because it doesn't impact the league too much if someone who doesn't know what they're doing comes in and ruins a team. But implementing that into Dynasty, in my experience, what I found a lot with people stepping into auction leagues that don't know what they are doing, if they go in there and ruin a team or two, it can quickly ruin the entire league. Because obviously any Dynasty owner can ruin any team. It happens in regular drafts as well. But they can ruin it significantly more if it is going to be an auction rather than just a snake draft. Now, we're probably going to go ahead and reach on our next guy. Anthony Richardson goes off the board, 403. Never mind. We actually are going to have to sit here and reevaluate what we're going to do just a bit. We are planning on reaching on Anthony Richardson. Obviously, that's no longer going to be an option here. So let's scramble, try to find what we're going to do. I think we may end up going Tua. Let me just think a little bit longer. We don't have much time to think. Yeah, we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Tua here at the 404. I mean, with Tua, I understand that nobody likes him. Yes, with Tua, I understand that he has no rushing upside, but he has a great coaching staff. He has great weapons, and he led the NFL in adjusted yards per attempt last season. The other quarterbacks that were right behind Tua in adjusted yards per attempt last year went 1 and 2 overall in this draft with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, okay, Tua is up and he's the same guy as Patrick Mahomes. Of course not. But I do think the Tua hate's probably gone a little bit too far. And I'm going to be willing to go ahead. I'm going to be willing to take him as our QB1 in the 4th round here. Like, to be honest with you, I would probably rather have Tua in the 4th than possibly going through and taking like Kyler at the 202. I mean, I don't know. We are also hoping that Anthony Richardson was going to fall to us. I'd have been fine with either guy there. Okay. Luke says, with Lamar news, is Andrews a buy or stay away? I don't know if we talked about this in a video recently. I don't know if I talked about this in a live stream when we were breaking down teams, but if we are looking at Lamar leaving Baltimore, I don't necessarily think that it's a horrible thing for the pass catchers. I think Lamar Jackson leaving the Baltimore Ravens will make the offense worse overall. I think the Baltimore Ravens will average less yards per game. I think they'll average fewer touchdowns per game. But whoever they have at quarterback coming in will most likely not monopolize the points in that offense how Lamar Jackson would. Because obviously, if you have Mark Andrews, if you have Rashad Bateman, you're not getting points when Lamar Jackson goes out there and has a rushing touchdown. When Lamar Jackson goes out there and he has 60 rushing yards per game, of course, it's really nice that he's picking up extra first downs, that he's able to continue to move the offense forward. What I think ultimately happens with Lamar Jackson leaving Baltimore is most likely this offense is hurt. There are fewer points to go around, but players like Mark Andrews and maybe Rashad Bateman, if he is the wide receiver 1 there this next season, they will account for a higher percentage of that offensive pie. So the pie may be smaller in general, but I think they will get a larger slice, and maybe it counteracts. It's obviously very difficult to say before we know exactly who the quarterback will be there, however. Okay. But let me know what y'all are thinking. Please type, how about this? Type a 1 in the chat if you think Lamar Jackson leaving Baltimore helps the pass catchers there. Type a 2 in the chat if you think it hurts. 3 in the chat if you think it doesn't have any impact. 1, 2, or 3. 1 helps, 2 hurts, 3 no impact. Interested. Okay, 2. Okay, Bingle says it hurts. Toronto says it hurts. Looks like everybody is leaning with either it hurts or has no impact. I have found with everything that's going on, I honestly think that maybe my perception on Lamar Jackson as a quarterback is a little bit lower than a lot of other people's. I think if you are in a scenario where we're playing fantasy football, Lamar Jackson is truly elite. Lamar Jackson with his rushing upside is phenomenal, and you can be ecstatic about what you have there. I think Lamar Jackson in Madden is probably pretty elite. I haven't played Madden since maybe 2014, but I'd imagine he's probably very good in that game. But throughout the entire career of Lamar Jackson in Baltimore, the Baltimore Ravens have had a top 5 defense. And the Baltimore Ravens have 1 playoff win. Like, I know obviously that's not a great stat to measure QB play, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm as high on Lamar as a lot of other people. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take, I believe, Johnson here, right? Yeah, we're going to go ahead. We are not even going to scroll down. We're going to have to reach so much we're having to literally search his name in the search bar. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to take Quentin Johnston, 509. I mean, in my mind, this is a wide receiver that checks a lot of boxes. He broke out as a freshman. He declares early as a junior. He dominates all 3 seasons there. He's athletic enough. He's going to be a first-round NFL draft pick. So I'm fine going ahead and taking him at the 509. I feel comfortable with it. Okay. Now, Thomas coming out says, traded ETN the 109, 112, 2024 second for Garrett Wilson and the 104. I would rather have Garrett Wilson over Travis Etienne. 104 versus 109, 112 future second. I think it's probably a fair deal. I think it makes a lot of sense for probably both teams. It almost depends on what your roster is on both sides. I really like that trade in terms of just it being fair overall. But yeah, let me go over to flockfantasy.com real quick and just show you where Quentin Johnston was ranked for me in comparison to some of these other players. So I had Quentin Johnston ranked at 51. We had Jordan Addison ranked at 52. I have Treylon Burks down at 66. I have Ramondre Stevenson at 57. Okay. And then let's look at where I have Jerry Jeudy a lot lower. I have Jerry Jeudy down there at 67 next to Treylon Burks as well. So really Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison were kind of the only guys that I was even considering with that pick, if I'll be honest with you. This next pick's going to be funny because it kind of comes down to, do we take who I have highest in the rankings, or do we go ahead and draft who we think we could get the most trade value for? I would say out of this list, DJ Moore, you could get the most value for. Like if you were going through, if you were trying to take a player and then immediately flip him later on, DJ Moore's probably the guy you're going with. I'll go with the player I have ranked highest. We're going to go ahead. We are going to take Dallas Goedert here, 604. I think Dallas Goedert accomplishes a couple different things. One, it allows us to stay balanced where we're not taking a wide receiver in literally every single round, which obviously I don't mind too much from a dynasty perspective. Also, we make the bet with this Philadelphia Eagles passing offense with a Devonta Smith as well. So we're able to build in some natural correlation there where maybe A.J. Brown gets injured and this is a league-winning team, or maybe you have just Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles being a top 3 passing offense overall, condensing the target share between those 3 players, and we have a massive hit on both guys. But I really like Dallas Goedert as a player. I mean, if you're looking at Goedert, every single season of his NFL career, he has gotten better. Every single season from a receiving yards per game perspective, Dallas Goedert has improved. Now, Dallas Goedert is not necessarily someone that is super young, but I mean, this is about the age we're assuming that tight ends start to step in to their prime. You're not really expecting prime years from the tight end position in age 25, 26. You're more so expecting it 27, 28, 29, 30. So I like Goedert. I think he's both a win now asset as well as someone that's not going to be losing value over the next few seasons. Okay. Avon wanted us to grab a running back. I feel comfortable with the running backs that we'll probably have around us in the 7th, 8th round. Okay, Kittle goes 6-12. Let me know what you are thinking between Kittle and Dallas Goedert. I mean, Kittle, another guy that you assume he's not that old, but stayed forever in college. So the man's 29, going to be 30 this offseason, even though he was drafted in 2017. We have Russell Wilson, 701, Derrick Henry, 702, Terry McLaurin, 703. So the next player that I would have taken if we passed on Goedert still hasn't gone. We may actually get him on the way back around, actually. Russell Wilson would have been nice. Actually, if I pull up my rankings, I had Russell Wilson ranked 53 and Dallas Goedert ranked 54. So based on our rankings, we should have gone ahead and we should have taken Russell Wilson. I mean, it is what it is, of course. If they're neck and neck, it really doesn't matter. Okay. Just skimming by. Obviously, sleeper ADP is the worst thing ever made, so it's very difficult to know exactly. I mean, on Underdog, it's okay. We just take one of the top 5 guys every single time. Just take one of the top 5 names. Here, I don't know if we've taken anybody inside the top 5 available to us yet. We're searching for these names. John Dotson, 705. That's actually going to be, that was the player we were going with if we decided not to take Dallas Goedert or Russell Wilson in the 6th. If we had Jahan Dotson making it to us in the 7th round, I would have been ecstatic. I would have been so excited if he would have fallen. Okay, I think we're probably going to go ahead and sit here and think. There are 2 players that I'm looking at. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take Jared Goff, 709. I don't want to talk about the other guy that we are considering too much, just given the possibility that he may make it back around to us in the 8th round. I mean, clearly this is a team that needs another quarterback with Goff. If I was running the Detroit Lions, I definitely would not stop myself from drafting a quarterback in the first round if we thought they were going to be able to be a successful NFL starter. Like if you're the Detroit Lions and you have like Will Levis, Anthony Richardson possibly falling to you and you really like them, I don't think Goff's good enough to just stop you from making that selection. But it sounds like based on the Detroit Lions fan base, the Lions and the Bears are those two fan bases that in my mind are just freaking crazy. And I think the Detroit Lions fan base is so over the moon about where they stand currently that if the Detroit Lions were to go out there and take a quarterback, I mean, they would be out there riding in the streets. I think that they are so sold on Goff that based off of that and that alone, he's probably going to be the starter this next year. Toronto says he'd still go George Kittle over Dallas Goedert. Let me see where they compared this past season in terms of their totals at the end, in terms of per game numbers, of course. Now, obviously, if you're looking at George Kittle, he ended stronger than he began. Dallas Goedert, kind of the opposite given the injury, but still, I am interested in pulling this up. Okay. So Dallas Goedert this past season, 58.5 receiving yards per game at 27 years old. You had Kittle down there at 51 receiving yards per game at 29 years old. Kittle obviously comes away with the touchdowns. I'd say that's going to be the most volatile thing that we're looking at. Goedert getting the volume at a younger age in a great offense. I'm fine with Goedert there. Cousins goes 7-12. Cousins would have been a quarterback that we would have taken on the way back around if he would have made it to us in the 8th. Okay, just making sure we know who's the highest in our rankings. Frymuth goes. Frymuth wasn't someone we were considering after we take Goedert where we did. I don't know what to do. Where did we have Carr? We should have gone Derek Carr there. That's my bad. Carr is a better contract. I mean, you have Geno Smith with the better weapons. Please let me know in the live chat. Who would you rather have there? Would you have rather had Derek Carr or Geno Smith? Please spam the chat right now. Let me know which direction you would have gone in. I mean, I definitely think we have to take QB there. I just think we made the wrong decision between the two of them. I think we panicked. I think we didn't take enough time. I clearly have Derek Carr ranked higher in my rankings. I have no idea why the hell we went Geno Smith. Yeah, because if I'm looking at my rankings right now on flogfantasy.com, I mean, I legit have Derek Carr 76. Geno 83. Yeah, so in terms of where we have them in the overall quarterback rankings, I have Derek Carr at 23. I have Geno Smith at quarterback 25. So why the hell am I taking Geno Smith here? I knew it was a mistake the second we made it. Okay. Carr, Geno, Carr, Geno, Carr, Geno, Carr. Geno. It looks like most people are actually saying Geno Smith. Most people are trying to make me feel a little better about this. Cal says Kenneth Walker for the 102. Guy who wants him has the 101 as well. In my mind, I think it's very dependent on what you actually need in your league. If you're going to be looking at a Superflex format where you're going to be able to bring in one of Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, if you look at this startup draft, I mean, they're going right in the same range as Kenneth Walker. And if you need that quarterback, sure, go ahead, make that move. I think it's a fair deal. Whereas if you're playing in a one quarterback league, then hell to the no, you want to have Kenneth Walker over the 102. It's just a weird spot to be in. Luke says Watson going around higher than Judy is insane. They are in the exact same, they're the exact same age, and Judy is in a better situation. Are we sure Jerry Judy's in a better situation than Christian Watson? Say Jerry Judy probably has better quarterback play, even if Russell Wilson was horrendous this past year. But at the same time, if we're going to be looking at Christian Watson, I'd make the argument he has significantly less target competition. And you know, I'm like the world's #1 Courtland Sutton hater. I mean, we made a crap ton of money last year because I was smart enough to avoid Courtland Sutton in the 3rd round in every draft. But I'd still say Courtland Sutton's a lot better than the wide receiver 2 in Green Bay. Tim Patrick's a lot better than the wide receiver 3 in Green Bay. I'd say the tight ends in Denver are better than the tight ends in Green Bay. I don't know. Stafford going 906. I think I know which direction we're going in. And real quick, if you have not dropped a like in this live stream yet, fix your life. Go down there and hit that like button. I mean, we have over 200 people out here. I think we've live streamed every single day for like a week now, even if we're in the middle of a move. So please go down there, drop a like for us, help us out. And we are going to go ahead and reach on our next guy. Elijah Moore goes. I mean, we don't really invest much into the quarterback position. We have to continue to go through and just throw crap at the wall. Hopefully we find something that sticks. I'm not sold on Jordan Love. No idea if the man's going to be good or not. But, I mean, in the 9th round, I'm willing to find out. I mean, I'm willing to pay that price. I've seen some people all in on Jordan Love. I've seen Love going in like the 6th, 7th round of these drafts. And at that price, count me out. I feel like you're just speculating. But 909, if he's going directly after Elijah Moore, hell, I'll go through. I'll play ball. We'll take him. I mean, we really need some quarterback upside here. I feel like we have some security with Goff and Geno Smith, but no upside whatsoever. Okay. Trip Crown says Elijah Moore in the 9th, definitely an ADP rise. Yeah, and I'm not going to fault it at all. And I mean, we talked about this in the live stream yesterday in that I really liked Elijah Moore coming out of school, and I was not smart enough to buy the dip on Elijah Moore earlier this offseason. He's going to his perfect situation now. The Browns paid a decent amount to get him as well. So it's a tough spot to be in. I wish I bought him everywhere earlier in the offseason. I definitely understand the ADP rise, and he should be rising if we're going to be honest. Okay, Rodgers goes 912. David Montgomery, 1001. The player we're looking at is probably still going to be available to us on the way back around. Zay Flowers, 1002. Great pick with Zay Flowers. I didn't even realize Zay Flowers is still on the board. I mean, I'd rather have Zay Flowers over a decent amount of the wide receivers he went ahead of. I mean, I'd rather have Zay Flowers than Josh Downs. Trip Crown says, I bought Elijah Moore for the 212. You like that? Hell yes. Great price. I mean, I would go through and trade the 212 in literally any league I have right now for Elijah Moore. I'm not even wasting my time sending the offers, though, just because I'd assume that anybody trading for him is going to ask for a lot more. I'm going to have to make a video on this soon. I have always been the guy, always, to go through and say, sell the day 3 running backs that find success year 1, because the majority of times they go through and they replace them the next year. We're selling high on James Robinson his rookie season, selling on Philip Lindsay, selling on Michael Carter. We're getting Tyler Algier here at the 1004. While, yes, his job's not secure. While, yes, Atlanta may go through and they may bring in someone this offseason. From an opportunity cost perspective, I love the swing here. It's probably not likely, but there's a chance Tyler Algier has an Aaron Jones type career. It's in the range of outcomes. He had a very strong end to his year 1. I don't know. I like what we're looking at here. Waller, 1009. Brock Purdy, 1008. Oh, my gosh. If Brock Purdy is the starting QB in San Francisco this next year and Lance is holding his clipboard, I will be crying myself to sleep every night. It'll be an ugly scene, ladies and gentlemen. Zach Evans goes 1010. Yeah, in my mind, I'm not taking Zach Evans here. Like, I'd probably rather have A.J. Dillon. I'd rather have Brian Robinson. Scroll through, see if we can find any other values that are hidden down here with ADP. 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 10 Brian Robinson, 10-11. I personally like the Brian Robinson selection. I mean, with Robinson, another player very similar to Tyler Algier, we were saying to sell him halfway through the rookie season whenever he was surging, but his price has come down a lot since then. They have no J.D. McKissick. Really don't know what else you'd be looking for. Kayshon Boutte, Gabriel Davis, A.J. Dillon. I like the A.J. Dillon selection as well. I mean, with Dillon, his price has come down a decent amount. Obviously, it makes sense with Aaron Jones restructuring. But still, if Aaron Jones were to go down, Aaron Jones being an older back, I mean, at that point, you probably have what? A.J. Dillon's the top 10 running back in fantasy, easily. A.J. Dillon is a talented player. Like A.J. Dillon has the definition of bell cow size. And to go along with this, he can catch the ball. And he's an elite athlete. Like, that combination is extremely, extremely rare. Okay, Khalil Herbert, 10-05. Devin Achane, 11-06. Kadarius Toney, boo, boo, boo. Sean Tucker. Where do we want to go? Where do we want to go? Probably going to take Greg Dulcich. I mean, someone that I don't know if he's any good. I mean, obviously, he had a role year one as a rookie tight end, which very rarely ever happens. He's probably playing in a bad offense. I don't know, but I mean, we're getting him after Sean Tucker. We're getting him after Devin Achane. I don't want to take a fifth quarterback here with Hendon Hooker with our team. Shark Fan says, how much of a chance does Devin Achane have to be an outlier? Looks pretty special on tape. Isn't your normal speedy back that always just tries to get outside. Okay, first off, I'll have no comment on what he looks like on tape, my friend. I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy for that. But we're going through and, I mean, just, I would say do the research on by yourself. Literally, all you have to do is go through and track the last 10 years, top 12 running back finishes, and see how many of those guys were under 190 pounds. And you will realize quickly that if you want him to be a special player, if you want him to be someone that can actually help you win a fantasy league, aka a top 12 running back, he has to be an extreme outlier. I think he can be a good real-life NFL player because I think he can be used in very specific areas. But in terms of him to ever command volume to make a difference in fantasy football, I'm not too optimistic. Kyle coming out with a donation. Thank you. Says, Kenneth Walker, Jordan Love, a future first for Justin Jefferson in a PPR Superflex league. If we could flip Jordan Love for, oh, shoot, we're on the clock. Is Roschon Johnson still available? Okay, we're going to panic. We're to panic Roschon Johnson. Didn't even know we're on the clock. Okay, but yeah, going back to this, if you could flip Jordan Love for a future first, and if we could sell Justin Jefferson for Kenneth Walker, 2 future first in a deep league, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Now, I don't know if you can do that. And when in doubt, I'd say keep Justin Jefferson. Like, let's go ahead and let's show off this draft. But overall, I would say if you have Jamar Chase, if you have Justin Jefferson, if you have Mahomes, if you have Allen, if you have Burrow, if you have Hurts, if you have someone at the very top of their position that's literally in their own tier, if someone were to trade for that player, you need to make them overpay. Like, you can't get around it. You need to make them overpay. And unless they're doing so, you probably just want to keep the best player, because what's the worst case scenario? You pass up on the deal and you still have Justin Jefferson? I would like that. Okay. But I think that should be about it. Of course, thank you so much for hanging out with us in this live stream, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to get access to my rankings, the rankings of all your favorite Dynasty Fantasy Football creators. If you want to get your team broken down in a podcast, which we'll probably do a little later today on the live stream as well, you can find that all on flockfantasy.com. Use promo code FLOCK for 30% off any package. And with promo code FLOCK in that mother flocker package, we will go ahead and be able to make a podcast of your team or break it down on the live stream, whichever you prefer. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I truly do appreciate you and really hope that you have a great week.